Hey everybody, it's me again. Thank you for joining into this part of the podcast. I felt like doing back to back. I don't know if I call them episodes or parts yet, but it's kind of weird. I feel like I'm speaking to my future self, like, it's okay. Like, one day we'll have this figured out, dude. And then the future self is looking back at me like, okay then. Like, if you believe so. So yeah. Because I was just thinking, like, maybe I should come up with like a catchphrase of how I welcome you guys. How I greet you. Maybe it'll alleviate stress out of my life in doing this and keep it the way that I want it to be. Like fun and easygoing. So, yeah, greetings to all. If you are listening for the first time, welcome. Why on earth did I almost say shalom? Like, what is going on here? I'm I'm now questioning if I should do back to back episodes ever again. Like recording two episodes and in one go, one evening, one sitting. But such is life. We're here now and I'm strangely in the mood for talking, so your boy is here. Um so we've kind of already covered topics in the previous part of this podcast. And for those of you who are only joining now, I would suggest that you start there so you can get on board with the crazy train and you're not lost. We don't want that for you. We want you to be found, we want you to be involved and take part in the discussions. So we're actually talking about fears and stuff. Fears about life, fears about love. And my personal fear, like one of them that I mentioned, a fear of starting something new. I generally have found recently when I reflect on a lot of things, I like the process of doing something new. Like once I'm in it, like with this podcast, once I've got the ball kind of rolling, I have a fun time. But starting it for me seems to be the issue. I feel like I don't like starting new things and I fear that. And I think it was in maybe the second part of this podcast where I said something along the lines of I think we fear doing new things because we we kind of don't want to fail in front of anyone. No one wants egg thrown on their face, and what's worse, egg thrown on their face in public. But at the same time, when do we ever try something? When do we ever if you fear failing, will you ever try anything out of your comfort zone? And when does the growth part take well, I said growth part, but I meant like when does growth take place in all of this? So yeah. I'm sorry. I love the song so much. Olivia Rodrigo, like please continue doing the most. Um yeah. It's very difficult to concentrate, I've realized when I play music that I like. Because I want to sing along. I don't know if you guys listened in the first EP, but I want to be a singer. I want to be an actor. I want to do a lot of things with my life and my time on this earth. And yeah, so how it just tied into fears and stuff was just basically how does fear. I just had this question in my mind, like how does fear stop us, better us? Does it better us in some way, shape, or form? And yeah, I was speaking to someone the other day, and she actually said that fears also sometimes stop us from doing stupid things. So yeah, I don't think it should be to the point where you kind of focus on irrational fears more than like the rational, I guess, or what's considered rational fears. But yeah, then I spoke about my current project, next or other topic, and I spoke about the books that I'm writing. So I've written my first book, The Curious Case of the Missing Mr. Cooper, and it is currently available to you for free online on Wattpad, and that might change very soon. Only because your boy is upgrading. Oh yes, oh yes, your boy is upgrading here. I have plans of putting my first book on Amazon. I don't know exactly when. See, that's the thing. I've learned to maneuver around people's questions and stuff. I don't tell dates. I'd rather be more comfortable saying, expect something. But the second you give a date, I don't know, maybe this is my problem. This is where the problem comes in with me. But the second you give a date, am I the only one who feels this? The second you give a date to something that's gonna happen, don't you kind of feel like, oh gosh, now I really have to meet that thing? What if I don't? You know, so I don't know. I just like telling people, like if someone asks, "Oh, what are you up to today?" or like, "What are you getting up to these days?" or "When are you gonna release your new EP?" That's been a discussion in the other parts of this podcast, by the way. Um, I'd rather just say I'm doing this than to say by this date, unless for sure, like obviously there's exceptions, unless for sure I know that it's done. Like I'm not gonna be out here getting egg thrown at my face for not meeting the deadlines. Um, so yeah, I check out my new book on Wattpad. My socials are on my Instagram page, and when I launch this podcast and upload all of these parts, I will leave the link to my Instagram and you'll be on the YouTube page listening to it, so the podcast. And yeah, just all the info that you need and that you could check out, like read my books and stuff. So the point of this podcast, because I really thought about it, I'm like, okay, what are we gonna talk about? Every day and stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, we're gonna talk about everyday life, and I want this to kind of be more of a nighttime podcast than a daytime because people, and I must say, I really give a lot of credit to people who do radio and stuff in the morning, especially if you're having a bad morning. So I've realized I can wake up in the morning if need be. But I don't think I'm a morning person. I think I'm a nighttime person, which is fine with me and doing this podcast and stuff because it means my free time, is now, and I can play around and stuff like that. And people are generally like asleep at night and stuff like that, or going to sleep. So I don't think I'll be like disturbed as much as during the day. It was actually very funny. In the other part right now, my dad walked in, and I don't know what to say because it's never happened before. And I guess that's why they call it experience in the field because, how do you know how to react to something if something has never happened before? But I kind of now try to look at it as a funny, like, haha, like one day we're going to remember, like, doing this at home, my parents were here and stuff like that. Like, this is where this mess started. This is where this mess started. Um, yeah, whereas I think because of just the shock of it, like, in the moment, I was like, oh my word, I made a mistake. And, yeah, this is. I don't think this was really on the to talk about list, but like we're gonna talk about it. I don't know if everyone else here listening is afraid of making mistakes. Um, but yeah, it's very. I don't know. Like life has been a very interesting thing for me so far. I find that recently I'm more okay with making mistakes. And don't get me wrong, because I think this might get misinterpreted by a lot of people or misunderstood. I strive for excellence and the best that I can do. I have, I wouldn't say I'm a planner, but I plan something for about like 50% of the work, and then I'll leave the rest of the 50 to be like, we'll see on the day. So like if I have an event going on, I'll plan certain things like location, like I wouldn't decide location last day, like on the day, I'll plan things like location. I'll plan things like what else? I'm just trying to give a fair example here, but yeah. Anyways, but I don't consider myself a planner. Even like when I write my novels, I don't really do much planning. It's more like, what do I feel like writing about this day and what kind of catches my eye? How do I feel that day? Um, so yeah, even when this mistake happened, I was kind of like, well, the show. I can't believe I'm saying this quote. The show must go on. I never thought I'd be that person that says that. It's just one of those, those stupid things that you've heard growing up in the entertainment industry, which is also a very interesting thing because it's weird. I don't think a lot of people want to be entertainers, want to be in the creative field. Or maybe it could. Maybe that's why a lot of parents are against it. They're kind of like, you know, oh, actually, a lot of things. I could tell you stories, but, like, oh, you're going to be on drugs or like, get a real job. And I just don't understand why it is that people think being a singer, an actor, an artist, a painter is not a real job because those things don't create themselves. And I don't know, maybe I'm in my feels about these topics right now while I'm talking because I guess I experience it a lot. And I can only speak about my experiences. I don't know what Jeffrey down the road, is experiencing, Kolani over there doing who knows what. I don't know what everyone else is experiencing. And that's kind of why I want to do this podcast in this way for the most part. But be patient with your boy because I'm learning too, okay? And I'm also going through things aside. Gosh, like, stop being so judgmental. And I'm also going to try not be judgmental of myself. Not to say I'm excusing bad behavior, but yeah, like, life doesn't have to be so serious. I mean, sometimes stuff really does happen that's out of our control, but it is what it is. Um, yeah. I have a few minutes left of this episode, so I'm gonna just try get on with it as fast as I can. Um, yeah, so a little bit more about myself. So I grew up in SA, in South Africa. What is up, fellow South Africans? How are you all doing? How are you guys? Let's up. Like, are you guys okay? Leahem. Say hi to your boy on the Not Gonna Lie app on my Instagram. Send some messages anonymously if you're afraid of DMing me, even though I really feel like I try to make myself approachable out here in these streets. Like, why aren't you talking to me? I'm not, the killer. But, anyways, yeah, I finished high school, boop, 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 and then I went to varsity, and then I dropped out. So I don't know. There's a stigma about everything now that I think about it. I want to be an artist. Oh, you're gonna end up on drugs. Get a real job. You drop out of varsity, people assume that it's because of the worst case scenario and stuff. Um, as if I didn't leave school to try and better myself and it resulted in dropping out. Like I don't think anyone in their logical mind goes to varsity to drop out. Like I didn't walk in there going like, yeah, well, this is how my life is gonna go. See year two, I'm a dub because this is just not what I thought it would be. Um, so yeah, that was quite a hectic life adjustment change. Um, I don't know how I feel about it now. I mean, I feel good about it in the sense that thank God, like what would I be doing right now if I was still at that place? Where would I be? Who would I be around? Um, yeah, but it was varsity, like varsity was definitely a stage in life. It was something. Your boy grew a lot, I would like to think. But at the same time, I'm probably going to, grow up to be old. I hope, life, touch wood. I'm touching wood right now because, life has clearly been very unpredictable and strange and stuff. So I would hope that I'm going to grow older and one day look back being like, Dial, what were you thinking? You were a mess back. You were a mess back then. So yeah, and I'm gonna end this episode now because it's 15 minutes, and I really try to get through everything. And in the next episode, we're gonna talk about the not gonna lie questions, and I'm gonna answer all the messages you guys have sent, and I'm gonna do it live. So I hope you guys are excited as I am for that. And yeah, I hope you're listening to this in the evening because I'm gonna say sleep well, and if you're not, then oh well. Um, yeah. Thanks for visiting. Thanks visiting. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys. Well, talk to you guys again. Please come back, guys. Like, I really feel like I'm creating a vibe. Don't be that awkward person that's gonna be like an op. Okay, bye.